Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Bastards of Boston Baseball. The Red Sox take a key, pivotal first game in a four-game set against the New York Yankees, winning 6-3. Roman Anthony being the big difference maker tonight, and for once, a strong outing out of the Red Sox bullpen as they are able to nail it down in the final innings. I'm your host, Jason Kelly. I'm here with Doug Aitchison and Terry Cushman Jr. Guys, after what happened with the Baltimore series, I was not optimistic coming into this weekend. I think a lot of people felt the same way. You're going to New York, you're facing a team that is starting to hit the ball really well, and you go in there tonight and you beat them pretty soundly. You know, Lucas Giolito pitches pretty well. He did have to get pulled early, but your bullpen nails it down, and Roman Anthony and Alex Bregman make their presence known. So, Doug, I'll start with you. I mean, to me, Roman Anthony's the guy that stood out, but was there anyone else that I think, in your opinion, really stood out in this one?
Well, I think what really deserves some credit is like this team just bounce back. They don't really seem to get rattled. You know, they lose 3 games in a row, a couple, maybe all three they should have won. And then you're going into Yankee Stadium, they're hot, and it was a big. I think it's a really easy spot for a team to clam up, get real nervous, try to do some extra things, and they just didn't. They just came to New York, played their game. Roman played his game, and the bullpen had a huge game. And a few big spots. Wilson got out of that really big spot, and Giolito didn't pitch bad, but he did have the high pitch count, and that made him get pulled early. But the bullpen really stepped up, and when you got a big spot from your new guy, and it was just a great win, and it really felt like a grind. It felt like a playoff game in there. Felt like a slow playoff grind win. And I love to see that, and I love to see the rookie be able to stay calm in those positions and get the extra runs in the ninth when we needed it.
Yeah, so the two high points for tonight's game for me, obviously Roman Anthony. I'll get into him in a little bit. The bullpen didn't give up an earned run. Wilson didn't look sharp, but the run he did give up was not earned. So I thought the bullpen kind of saved us, really, because Giolito did not look good at all. I didn't think, lots of deep counts. He didn't even go 5 full. What did he go? 4 2/3. Walked 3. I thought it was more than that. Struck out 4. He hasn't been terrible lately, but this isn't the late spring, early summer Lucas Giolito. So that kind of bears watching as we go forward. And then finally, Roman Anthony hit just a moonshot. And I think Yankee Stadium is going to be tailor-made for him. I think over the course of his 12 to 15 year career, well, he's only 21. So let's say 15 to 18 year career. I think Yankee Stadium is going to be his best road stadium. Just golfed that shot with just ease. And I was thinking to myself after it happened, one, thank goodness. And I did one weird thought I had was, we're up by 3, and theoretically that sounds good, but I don't know if it sounds good if it's not going to be Aroldis Chapman, because then maybe the 1-run lead is safer, because he's going to lock it down. He's not giving up anything. So I'm like, is Cora going to do something stupid here? Are we going to get Hicks? Are we going to get someone awful and find a reason to not pitch Chapman again like we did in the finale of the Marlins series that ultimately cost us a series? But anyway, I digress on that. So what I was thinking, though, with Anthony is I feel like we underappreciate him. I mean, what he is doing is amazing. He's hitting close to 300. I think he still has an on base north of 400.
Yeah.
And, just across the board, super solid defensively, super solid. And I just feel like we don't appreciate him enough. And I'm wondering, I'm like, why is this? And I think it's because there's just so much to worry about across this team. You know, is your 3, 4, and 5 guys in the rotation going to rein it in so that you're going to have one of the best rotations again? Are the bullpen woes over? Why is David Hamilton falling asleep at third base and getting picked off? And how come Narvaez is hitting less than 130 since the All-Star break? There's just so much to stress about that. It's hard to feel good about some of the great things. And let's say Roman Anthony got called up in the spring of 2018. He would be all the rage. He would be all the rage because you got a super solid team. You're not really worried about anything. So I just think there's so much going on. And then the other thing too is, you know, players not playing the positions that they're supposed to. That's kind of dominated the season as well. But man, you just to go up by 3 in a spot and just end it was amazing. And I don't know what you can say. I mean, he's literally playing like the number 1 prospect in all Major League Baseball, and it doesn't always pan out. You know, I keep mentioning Jackson Holiday. Remember, Jurickson Profar was like number 1 for like 2.5 years, and he ended up being okay after a while, but he was a massive bust for a number 1 prospect. Yoan Moncada didn't really pan out. So he's panning out, and you know, tonight it was highlighted in a big way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm glad you brought it up that like it does feel like not that we take him for granted, but we're not celebrating Roman Anthony as much as maybe any other fan base would be because there's so much else for us to worry about. As you said, like we're worried about the rotation, we're worried about the bullpen on a daily basis, it seems like. I mean, you know, one day we've got Isaiah Campbell and Giovanni Moran up here costing us games, and the next day it's we got some new guys coming up, and you know Justin Slayton may be coming back. So I think that's what you notice with a team like this that they have to scrap and claw their way into the playoffs. It's not guaranteed, even as bad as the American League is. It's not guaranteed with this team. They still have to fight because yeah, you beat the Yankees tonight, but you lost 2 games to Baltimore that you really shouldn't have. And, you know, Anthony wasn't really a factor in those games. And sometimes he gets benched too because you still have too many outfielders. So there are games where Anthony's sitting on the bench and Yoshida's in there going 0 for 4 playing left field with his noodle arm. Like, so you're right. Like, we should appreciate Roman Anthony more than we do, but we just have so much more to worry about because we're just so desperate to just make the playoffs at this point and not lose that wild card spot. That's why this weekend, like, and I don't think it's hyperbole to say it, like, a lot of people have labeled it as this weekend could be or could define your season. If the Red Sox got swept this weekend, which obviously isn't going to happen now, but if they did, we'd be sitting here on Tuesday, you know, sometime next week going, man, like, what happened? Because this team did put itself in playoff position. We complain about the trade deadline. We can complain about the offseason, but they still played pretty well. And they were in position. And now it's like, if you don't do well this weekend, you're looking at a totally different scenario. Now, they're off to a good start. They won game 1. They won game 1, I think, pretty decisively. I know it was close there at the end, but Yankees offense kind of looked a little bit lifeless, which, you know, when they're not hitting 8 home runs a game, they can. So that's the difference. And bullpen deserves a ton of credit. They've been much maligned as of late, you know, by people on this show, including me. But, you know, they deserved it of late. Tonight they were nails. And tonight Roman Anthony was nails. And yeah, you're right. Like, for a number 1 prospect, for a guy who was like so highly touted, for him to make such an immediate impact. I mean, we keep waiting for it with Triston Casas. And there are still Triston Casas truthers within the Red Sox fan base to this day. Say, oh, just wait. Don't be impatient. You can't give up on him. It's like Triston Casas has been here for like 4 or 5 years. Roman Anthony's been here for 2 months. And he's already like making a huge impact and winning you games against the New York Yankees in New York. So I'll take that any day. I think this tonight's game and hopefully the rest of this weekend was about Roman Anthony and the fact that good thing you called him up. Good thing you didn't just hold him down because of service time or anything like that. He's already making an impact on this team, and that's amazing to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. The one, like, as you said, Terry, we kind of maybe undervalue him or just take him for granted. And I think that's true because the national, the national story from this game will probably be talking about Roman Anthony, right? But as a Red Sox fan, yeah, like I love seeing it from Roman. My thoughts right now is like I hope Bayo can go deep tomorrow because we used Weiser, Whitlock, and Chapman tonight, and Wilson. So it makes me a little nervous, but um, he we brought Devers up at a very young age in 18, and he was our Yankee killer right until we traded him. And I heard some talks today, yeah, but you got rid of your Yankee killer. He was the guy. Well, if Roman can just step into that role, then I mean, he's going to be a favorite of Red Sox fans. That's how you become a favorite. You beat the Yankees. That is what puts you in the next level with Red Sox Nation. And he's on his way because he didn't seem rattled at all in his first game in the Bronx. And you just love to see poise out of a 21-year-old like that. We haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here over the next week because you have the password up now, and he's going to have to find his way into the lineup. Abreu didn't go on the IL officially yet, right? Or did he?
I think
not officially, as I
Yeah,
know. Yeah, I think they're anticipating it, but not yet.
Yeah,
because I know Toro. So Toro got DFA'd today, by the way, mercifully.
right.
Just really hurting us at the plate since the halfway point, and doesn't have the best glove. Hit into a brutal double play, which is what I'm kind of blaming the loss on in Game 2 against Baltimore at this point. But so he's gone. And the other thing we haven't really talked about so far is Nathaniel Lowe. And I referred to him in the war room today as great value Schwarber because, I mean, he's a lefty. He's a power guy. We got him from the Nationals, same thing, same shop. Not that he has Schwarber's pedigree, but had a big hit today, drove in a run, had a big home run the other night, but it got, kind of buried by the loss. So that's another reason that the lineup's going to get really interesting here. And I'm wondering how, I don't think there's any way we part with Romy Gonzalez, but if the password's going into the outfield and Rafael is staying in the infield, you've got Lowe at first base, probably getting the bulk of the at-bats at this point. You got some tough decisions to make here.
I kind of view the password being called up as mostly for this Yankees series. You got two lefties on the mound. So he'll probably be in the lineup tomorrow against Fried, and then he'll be in the lineup on the finale against Rodon. Abreu's on the 10-day IL. They're hoping it's not anything beyond that. So I think the password will get at bats here mostly against lefties, but he'll mix in every now and then. Maybe he gets a start at first base. I know they kind of were trying him out there a little bit down in AAA, so we'll see. But I don't think the password is up here long term. I think he's up here until Abreu gets healthy. And then, fast forward to the September call-ups when the roster's expanded to 28 guys. He might be one of the two guys that gets called up, right? It might be him and Campbell, or it might be him and another pitcher, right? So I think they just kind of want to give him a shot because he has been playing so well down in Worcester and so consistently. I don't consider it a long-term thing. In terms of Nathaniel Lowe, I've liked this guy since he was with Tampa. I've always liked Nathaniel Lowe, and I thought it was weird that Tampa just kind of gave him up. and just sent him away to Texas. I don't know if that was free agency or a trade. I can't remember. But they kind of just gave up on him, and he was like 27 at the time. I thought, for a team that needs offense, this guy's good. He was a consistent hitter with them. Goes to Texas. He did pretty well there, but again, only lasted, I think, 2 seasons. Then went to Washington, and the big knock you hear on him is that he kind of adopts the personality of an 80s baseball player, isn't in great shape, doesn't go to the weight room, isn't worried about being super cut, chews a ton of tobacco, kind of goofs off in the locker room, but he can hit. He can hit. Is he a great fielder? He's okay, but he can hit, and that's really all he cares about. So I think he's the kind of guy that rubs a lot of teams the wrong way when he's there too long. But as a mid-season, and at this point late season pickup, when Abraham Toro became a black hole at first base, give me Nathaniel Lowe, because even if the guy doesn't care about being in shape and wants to chew tobacco and be a bit of a goofball in the clubhouse, okay, fine. If you go out there and hit home runs and hit go-ahead doubles like he did tonight and do stuff like that, I don't care. I get, people are saying, is he Steve Pierce 2.0? I'm not sure he's that. Steve Pierce is much more buttoned up, but think of him as Johnny Damon idiot era, but you picked him up late season and he plays first base. That's kind of what I think of Nathaniel Lowe. He's just a big goofball who, yeah, he's a little bit pudgy and he's going to chew a ton of tobacco, but he might go 3 for 4 on a night like tonight and really help you. So good for the Red Sox for picking him up. I thought it was a good move. And, is he going to get you to the World Series like Steve Pierce did? Maybe not. But can he get you a little bit deeper than maybe we thought Abraham Toro could? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a Gold Glove, he's got a Silver Slugger, and he's got a World Series ring. I mean, that's more than, besides Bregman, anyone on our team can say. So he brings at least some experience, some playoff experience. He didn't look like the moment was too big for him tonight. And that's just, it's an upgrade isn't even the word for it from Toro. I mean, it's just massive, just a great move for the team, proven to be.
I mean, I think he's instantly a big threat at the plate against righties, and I think you're a better team. It's funny because I get the impression, I saw something somewhere that, he was a kind of a clubhouse cancer a little bit, at least this year in Washington. It sounded like because they weren't winning, he didn't care. He's coming off of a recent World Series ring. Now he's in one of the biggest dumpsters in all of MLB, and so you look at his savant chart as well. It's as blue as the Pacific Ocean, so I think he's like, oh, we're not winning. I'm having Chinese tonight. And, and he packed it on a little bit. He is pudgy. I'm like, why is this guy so fat? But he's getting it done. And like Doug said, he's got the personality to play in a big market under a lot of pressure. We've seen it in a couple of situations. We saw the big home run at Fenway to tie it the other night. We blew it later on after that. And then in Yankee Stadium, and an atmosphere that was not hostile, but it was very spirited. It had a playoff feel, and he drove in a big run. So, I'm curious. I don't think he's a fit long term. I mean, if he goes off, and then we get into the playoffs, and then he has a big October, he's a lefty. I don't think he's a fit. I just don't, with what you have coming up, with the fact that we don't have any place to really put the password. If Abreu does come back, I just think, I don't know how he fits. But how Red Sox are. If he hits 4 home runs next week, they're going to be calling for a 3-year extension.
I mean, I could see him as a guy that they might look at and say, we would love to have him as insurance for Casas, but the reason he's signed here is because he's looking for a new contract next year. He's a free agent, so he's looking to go somewhere other than Washington, right? He wants to be in a contender next year as well, but he wants to play every day. So I get the temptation to want to bring him back because I've said it before. You need insurance for Triston Casas at this point. Like, I still don't think he's going to be ready to go at the beginning of next year. But a guy like Nathaniel Lowe, who's he's going to be 30. Like, he can easily, if he goes on a tear the next month and a half, and he becomes like an October hero, for however long the Red Sox are in it, he might get himself like, not a Walker Buehler type of contract, but like something like that where teams go, wow, this guy can hit in big situations. And, all he needed was to be in the right situation. And there's plenty of teams out there that need first basemen. So I think he's the kind of guy that he's here for the short term, not the long term. He's going to probably play his ass off. You hope he plays his ass off for the next month and a half, however long the Red Sox are in the playoffs, to earn himself a good contract in the offseason. But I think in terms of first base options going forward, obviously the organization is kind of tied to Casas, mainly because he's cheap, right? Like, he's arbitration eligible. You have him under team control. He'll be back at some point. Go and get a cheap, first base backup option. That's more likely what the Red Sox will do. They're not going to give Nathaniel Lowe an extension after this. But if he helps you in the playoffs and earns himself one with someone else, all the power to him. I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to spot the end of your season. I mean, at the end of maybe the worst season of your career. You come from one of the bottom teams of the league, and you jump into a Red Sox Yankees wild card race. I mean, that's a big 180, and he looks like he's ready for it.
He's a career 347 on base guy who just kind of underachieved, for a lot of the reasons I pointed out. And the World Series year, he had a couple of big home runs against the Houston Astros in the ALCS. And so he's got the pedigree, and I think Boston is a pretty good home for him. And I mentioned earlier, I mean, I didn't realize how good he actually is against lefties. I mean, his splits are pretty even. He hits 264 against righties, hits 260, just 4 points under that against lefties. And his on base is about the same. It's 350 versus 340. So definitely a guy that could be a weapon. And I mean, if he starts hitting righties here, I mean, I don't see why if he starts hitting lefties here, I don't see why he's not in the lineup every day between first base and DH. So we'll see. And I would just love it if the password does force their hand. Abreu does have options, and he's a streaky hitter, and I don't know a ton about the password. I mean, he hits for decent pop. He hits for average. That's about it, but he hits from the right side. So, it could be interesting here offensively all of a sudden.
So the thing that I've been led to understand about the password is that he has a high whiff rate. So, yeah, the numbers look really good in AAA, but he's also facing a lot of bad pitchers down AAA. So he swings a lot and he gets a lot of contact. That's why the average is up. That's why his OPS is very high. He might struggle a little bit more at the major league level. Like, I'll be curious if he's in the lineup tomorrow. Max Fried he's had an awesome first half. They highlighted on the Fox broadcast. He's been atrocious in the second half. Like, he looks like he's on the decline. So I wonder if Cora, and I hope he does, like, kind of take advantage of that. Like, you got a lefty who's struggling. Put this young kid in and just tell him, like, hey, this guy is struggling. Like, look for your pitch. Obviously talk to him beforehand. This is his arsenal. Look for this and see if you can run into one. I'd be curious to see if he's in the lineup tomorrow. I hope that he is. But he might be a guy that equates more to like a Narvaez at the major league level in terms of his bat. Like, not terrible, but he's not going to hit 285 at the major league level. Like, he's going to hit like 260. He does have power. He's got natural power. And he's a good athlete. He's a big kid. He's a good athlete. So I think that's why they feel comfortable putting him at first base. That's why he's a good outfielder. He's got the tools, but he is still very young and a little bit raw. So we'll see. I think that he will kind of give him something to think about. Now, if he goes, 0 for 12 in the couple of games he plays, and then they send him down after Bray gets back, from the IL, we'll see. But I think he's going to do something. I think Garcia will give you a little bit something, especially if they play him against lefties, put him in there against Fried, put him in there against Rodon. I know those are two tough lefties, but he might show you a little something, and that might give you a better idea of next year. Okay, he showed you a little something. If he can really learn first base and be just halfway competent at it, because let's face it, Triston Casas is not a gold glover over there. Okay, he's quite the opposite. He's below average at first base. So if the password can learn first base and at least be decent at it and not cost you games there, he might be a good option for next year. Like if Casas is still taking his sweet time getting back, because we know he likes to take his time, and I know it's a massive injury. I'm not making light of it, but just we know at this point who Triston Casas is. If he's still not ready by May 1st, the password might be a good option to kind of be a platoon guy and just get some at bats and see how he does in the spring. So I think this is a good call up, and I hope he makes the most of it.
You would think he's in the lineup tomorrow, right? That feels like the spot.
I think he should be. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see a reason why not.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
I'm
why
excited.
why call him up if you're not
Right.
going to do it? I mean, it's not like you don't have options, but and Rafaela could go to the outfield, and Hamilton or Romy will play second. But yeah, I'd love for Hamilton. It just irks me that he's up. You celebrate the Toro DFA, but you're just recycling trash, as I said on Twitter, by calling up Hamilton. But in regards to first base, though, I kind of hope it just stays Campbell at this point. I just don't want to mess with him. And you've got an endless surplus of outfielders to put that together. And I don't know what you do at second base, but I hate the fact that Rafaela's decline has sort of coincided with him playing there a lot of the time. So we'll see. I have to bring it up once a show. I also think maybe he was one of the iPad guys that was heavily reliant on extra scouting reports based on what they were seeing with the pitcher setup and delivery, that they were exposing. So we'll see there. But with Casas, I don't see any scenario in which he's back. I don't see, because especially if Campbell's keeping first, if that's his position and they're like, look, we're not going to mess with you anymore. This is your position. Just get used to it. Get better at it. I don't see. I think your surplus in the outfield is just so deep. I just don't see him going back there. And I don't think the second base experiment needs to be relived again. That was bad. He was by far, he had like a -16 defensive run saved at second, like an astronomically bad second base performance. So I think Casas is gone. I can't see a scenario in which you non-tender him and then take a massive L because you did it. And he's weird. Those antics are no longer in your clubhouse anymore. That alone is a major net positive.
I just don't know what you do with Casas, because you have him under team control and his value is like shot. It's gone. The value that he had last offseason when we were trying to peddle him off to Seattle, that's in the tank, because teams look at him now and go, yeah, he's only 26, but he's coming off of a devastating leg injury. He's only had one good half season in the majors. He runs like he's got concrete in his ass. He can't field very well. He's supposed to have power, but that's inconsistent. He's supposed to master the plate, but he strikes out too much. Like, I don't know what else you do with him. I think he's got to be on the roster. I don't know. It may not be at the major league level. It doesn't have to be. I don't think at this point. I think you can still stash him in the minors at least for a little bit, but I don't think he's gone. He just has no value in terms of trade. And I hope they have an alternative solution at first base. If it is Campbell, like, okay, I still don't feel great about that either. But I would like for them to have a solid, like, just a solid B backup plan. Doesn't have to be Josh Naylor. Doesn't have to be Eugenio Suarez. Those guys are going to be free agents. Like, I don't think that's going to happen, but don't just rely on Triston Casas to come back and be the first round pick that you thought he was going to be. I hope it's not that.
Well, it's his first year of arbitration next year, as crazy as that sounds for the limited time he's actually played. But I think he just, if you don't want him anymore, you just simply non-tender him. And that's how we got Hunter Renfroe in 2021. I can't remember. It might have been the Padres it was Tampa that non-tendered him. And I just don't see how anybody can lose playing time at this point to Triston Casas. And he's got this cult-like following, as we've seen and as we've battled on social media. I'm just kind of sad that if it happens, that whole thing has lost so much steam that we're not going to get to enjoy a massive meltdown. Some of our biggest haters that have trolled us over him might still do it, but it's not going to be what it was had we traded him this past winter.
And I think I think you guys know, like, I'm a big Campbell guy. I just don't know if he's a first baseman. And I think they want him to be an outfielder. And I know, and we have no space for him in the outfield. But if in the offseason, if we do end up trading Duran or Abreu, maybe it opens up a spot for him out there. But I hope it works at first. I mean, I hope.
Even then, I mean, theoretically, Raphael and Anthony are in the lineup every day.
Right.
So, and are we going to trade both Duran and Abreu? I don't know. So, and then you got the password. It's hard, I think, to get Campbell out there.
It must be tough for Campbell seeing all these guys get called up. Right? You would think, like, he starts hitting, you would think, oh, it's probably going to come. And then everyone else is getting called up around him. Hopefully it doesn't affect him.
Well,
yeah. Or go ahead.
I was going to say, part of that problem is the Red Sox because they gave him the stupid contract, like, way, way too early. The guy had barely proved himself. And they're like, oh, here's your extension. So, yeah, you might be right. He might feel bad about seeing guys like David Hamilton get shots over him, seeing guys like the password get shots over him. But that's on the Red Sox. They signed him to that extension way before he deserved it. So I hope that Campbell at least has a little bit of enough of a head on his shoulders to go, I sucked. I need to be better. You know what? I wish I got called up, but I need to earn it. It takes more than just a good stretch for 1 week for me to get called up. So I'll keep working and hopefully I'm part of their future plans. But that's on the team. They didn't have to give him the extension, but for whatever reason, they felt they need to rush it.
And the Rafaela extension, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't. For a month and a half, it looked brilliant. All of a sudden,
yeah, it seemed good 2 months ago.
And then now it's like maybe they jumped the gun. I don't know. Did you have to give it to him? But and a lot of the concerns were already there. He strikes out a lot. He whiffs, and he has been drawing a few more walks. I think he drew one tonight even. I forget who the pitcher was there. It might have been it was that young guy Weaver. And so I think he walked the bases loaded though. But yeah, so it's just Breslow's had some misses and it's not a lot of money, so it's not like it's gonna kill us, but I don't know. I just want Christian Campbell to thrive. And I guess the reason he's not up yet, I can't remember where I either saw or heard this, but they're changing his whole mindset at the plate. And that scares me. Because what you're saying is this guy's deeply flawed and we have to change everything he knows. And I don't know if players can like just completely relearn things on a whim. So he was a drive line guy, as we've mentioned, and that's kind of a source of frustration for some fans that don't believe in it. I don't know if I believe in it. I don't think you can have a universal swing in Major League Baseball. Like your whole roster needs to swing like this, and that's it. I mean, Luis Ariz has the slowest bat speed in MLB, but he's a hitting machine. So players are just going to be uniquely good, and that's kind of where I lean. Just let them be what's carried them here. And I'm not saying that the work they're doing with Campbell is unnecessary. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know specifically what they're trying to do, but
You don't love hearing that.
Yeah, there's a decent chance that you don't see him the next year. I just don't want him to come back up and be a complete mess.
Right.
And if you want hope, Jackie Bradley could not stay on the roster, for his first couple of years. And then finally 2016, he got into that stride. That was the 29 game hitting streak year. And he did have his painful slumps after that, but he never got optioned. I mean, he was adequate. So if we can at least get Campbell to that level, hopefully he just figures it out, gets into a groove, and doesn't become one of those players that's prone to those painful slumps, kind of like we're seeing right now with Rafaela.
Duran was up and down a bit too before he finally figured it out.
Yeah, and I don't know what obviously they tweaked something, but I mean, he got hot and never looked back. And, it seems like he's not having a great year, but he's coming off of one of the best outfield years we've seen since Mookie Betts, probably the best, honestly. Yeah. So it's hard to follow that up. And I'm pro Duran, as we all know. And I guess he got in a little bit of trouble this week. He called. We won't say the word, but it's starts with a P, and it's part of the female anatomy. He yelled that at a fan with the F-bomb, and I was like, "That's progress. That's better than what he said last year. That's better than what he said." And I don't know how Breslow feels. I mean, he must be appalled because he has no sense of humor and doesn't know how to handle people. Yeah, he's a human robot up there. And so we'll see.
Yeah, and the thing with that always keeps me optimistic about Campbell is like we saw him really struggle for sure, but we also saw him be really good at the MLB level. So I don't think I think it's there, and to hear that they're in his head about I don't love hearing that because he was good. He was the rookie of the month. Like he was showing us that he can do it. And then obviously he didn't, but I mean, it's in there. It's there. He can hit. He can hit at the MLB level. He's proven it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like what worries me about Campbell, the only thing that worries me about him is what you guys just said, like that they're getting inside his head and telling him he has to change his approach or he has to change how he thinks as a hitter. Like look at Christian Campbell's swing. Anytime you see a clip of him hitting a home run, it looks unnatural. Like it's kind of goofy looking. He reminds me of like an Alfonso Soriano. Like the batting stance doesn't make sense. The follow through doesn't make sense, but he gets results. Leave him alone. Just let him do his thing. And this is where like the drive line thing and the nerds and the analytics, like this is where I think the Red Sox get in their own way. Like they think they can reinvent guys. They thought they could reinvent Kyle Harrison, and I guess he's pitched a little bit better since they acquired him, but he's still not quite there yet. Until the pitchers sat down Andrew Bailey, like chained him to a chair and told him, please let us throw more fastballs, he had a whole different pitching approach where Bayo was getting lit up, Giolito was getting lit up. Like, so I think the Red Sox get into a mode where they think they're smarter than they really are. And I worry about, like, I'm glad that Roman Anthony is up at the major league level and hopefully no one is bothering him because obviously his approach works. Jaron Duran, as you mentioned, Doug, like he had his ups and downs, and then who did he go talk to? Dustin Pedroia, who until he got hurt was a career good hitter, great hitter, like MVP, Rookie of the Year, multi-time All-Star. And all Pedroia did was say, "Yeah, just reposition your hands a bit. Like you've got the tools, just do this." And it turned Duran into the fourth best player in the American League last year. So I wish they would just do more of that and less of the drive line, like, let's try to, change your entire mentality and all this at the plate. Like, no, just, you know, so Brad Sandler in the comments says, I'm guessing referring to Christian Campbell, looks like Orlando Cepeda to me. Yeah, like it's a little bit different. It's not your conventional, batting stance. It's not the driveline guys must hate it, but it works for him. He's got natural power, he's got natural ability. Just leave him be. Let him do it. He accelerated through the minors faster than any player we've seen in recent history. He did that all on his own. And then he went up to the majors, he struggled, and the driveline guys or the nerds or whoever got a hold of him and said, "Oh, no, no, no. Come here. No, we can't have that goofy swing. We got to have you completely change who you are." Leave him alone. I just wish the Red Sox would do more of that. Let the guys who are naturally talented be naturally talented and just let them figure it out. Yeah, Christian Campbell struggled at the majors, but as you mentioned, Doug, he also was AL Player of the Week or whatever. Like, he had a really good stretch there where he looked like he belonged. So I hope that they just leave him alone and, but who knows? He's down in Worcester right now, so they're probably overloading him with information. That's the frustrating part. And that's why we talk about the future of first base and the future of Campbell himself. It's like, we don't know. They might screw him up. Like, unfortunately, the Red Sox have done this with prospects. Blake Swihart, Andrew Benintendi, like, the list goes on. They have screwed up prospects left and right. I hope Campbell's not the next, but it's really worrying. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, he's like a basketball player with a goofy shot. It's like if it goes in, don't fix his form. Just let him do it.
Yep.
Let him keep doing it.
And like Brad's other comment, with Campbell lacking confidence, that's extremely troublesome for a big market like Boston. Like, I don't know who's ever had a confidence problem and then goes to Boston to fix it. I just don't know where. Maybe there's an example, but there can't be many. So we'll see what happens. But and the other frustrating thing, we don't have to get into a deep thing about this, is I want a streamlined roster. I want everybody to know where they're playing. I want everybody to have a pretty defined role. And the more kids you call up, the messier it gets. The whole mixing and matching. I'm not a subscriber to that. That's what I miss about the Francona era and even the Farrell era. As dirty as that sounds to say, but everybody had a defined role. I don't like the platoon dynasty, and Campbell. I guess if you kept Campbell in the outfield, it probably wouldn't have mattered, but constantly bouncing one of your outfielders to second base and back, it's just not good. I mean, find an example of where that's been awesome. Like Ben Zobrist could do it, yeah. But not for Boston, but for Chicago and Tampa. So tonight was an uncomfortable game. You shouldn't be winning games when Giolito only goes 4 2/3. We did. The Yankees committed a lot of errors, and I don't think we did particularly a good job getting the bases in. One of them came in on an error, the runners rather, And so I don't know. We'll see. You got 3 more games to go. 4 more against Baltimore. I think you'll at least split the 4-game set because I just Baltimore's bullpen is just so bad. You know, that one guy with an ERA over 6 to close it out there in game 2. I mean, that's a guy you should be plating runners.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not going to be an easy remaining 3 games here against New York, but you took game 1 and against Luis Hill, which was important. So, hopefully just get better with runs in scoring position. I mean, just start with that. That's the simplest fix you could make. Just drive runs in when you got guys on base, especially with nobody out. Like, they waste so many opportunities. If they can get better at that, they'll be fine. So we'll see how the rest of the weekend goes. And that starts tomorrow night, Friday night game. This is on Prime Video and MLB Network. I think Nesson is carrying it for those of you in the Boston area. I'm not entirely sure, but I think they are. But again, 7:05 tomorrow night. We got Brian Bayo for the Sox going up against Max Fried, who, as I mentioned earlier, has really struggled since the All-Star break. So, Doug, I'll start with you. Who do you got for tomorrow night?
I like the Sox again. I like Bayo. I really like the way he's been pitching. Last time against the Yankees, he went 7, no runs. And then the last time we beat Fried, right? That was the Father's Day walk-off, maybe? Maybe we didn't beat him, but we won that game.
I'll look it up. I think you're right, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it. I really like the way Bayo's been looking. I love the way Roman Anthony's been looking. Bregman was 3 for 5 today. I think I just don't have faith in this Yankee. I just don't like this Yankee team. I just think we have a better team, and I think we've proven it now. We're 5-1, 6-1. I think we really just have their number, and I think Bayo likes pitching against them, and I think Bayo is a guy that likes big games.
You were right, by the way. We did beat Max Fried 2-0 in his last start against us.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
That was June 15th.
Right.
Sounds like he pitched a gem, but yeah, I don't know. If our offense was just a little bit hotter, I would probably have a little bit more confidence here. But, the Yankees have gotten really good production out of Paul Goldschmidt, and he hasn't been quite the power threat that he has been, but he puts the ball in play, as we did see tonight. Trent Grisham is having a career year. Ben Rice has been, has kind of continued the upward trajectory that he started last year with his call-up. He's catching more now.
That was a bomb he hit tonight, too.
Yeah, it certainly was. And he hit a foul ball with home run distance in that same at bat. And then he did crush one.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you got Judge, and Stanton's been super hot lately. He runs like a 60-year-old softball outfielder, I noticed, but he's getting it done at the plate. So I wouldn't take anything for granted here. We have to hit, and if we don't, we're not going to win. So I'm putting it more on the offense. I'm taking the pitching at face value, which should be pretty good from here out. And the bullpen, I mean, you got Bernardino back, so that should give you some stability. And I said tonight, with the 1-run lead after the 7th inning, when the Yankees couldn't get the third base runner in, I said, I think we got it. You got Whitlock, you got Chapman. I think a 1-run lead is pretty safe. I don't know if there's a better 1-2 punch in baseball right now in the 8th and 9th. There might be, but not many. And so we'll see.
I think we've only lost 2 games after leading the 8th, right?
Something like that. Yeah. And that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that last Max Fried start, by the way, Brian Bayo did oppose him and outdueled him. Yeah. 8 strikeouts, no earned runs against the Yankees. Now that was at Fenway. That was not in Yankee Stadium. So we'll see how Bayo does under the bright lights of Yankee Stadium. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of torn on this one because you don't have Ref Snyder available. Romy has kind of cooled off here. I feel like Cora's going to put Nate Eaton in the outfield tomorrow, and Sadon's going to be at second. I think the passer will be your DH or something. I feel like we have a goofy lineup coming our way tomorrow. And yeah, I know Max Fried's been struggling, but this is a game the Yankees need, and this is a game that he needs. He needs to kind of bounce back. And I just feel like he's going to go out there and shove the bats down your throats tomorrow, unless Roman Anthony can save you again. And I'm not sure that'll happen. So I'm kind of leaning Yankees on this one, just because, again, like, I don't think you have the usual lefty killer lineup that you usually do, or that you're used to. So I think Fried will do a little bit better tomorrow. I don't think Bayo's going to be bad, but I do think that the Yankees have an opportunity to kind of jump on him tomorrow. Stanton, as Terry mentioned, Stanton's playing better. Judge looks pretty healthy with the elbow. Grisham is hitting the ball well. Jazz can't throw the ball, but he can hit it still pretty well. So I think they'll score runs against Bayo, and I think Fried is just going to shut down whatever mutant lineup Cora puts out there. So unfortunately, I'm leaning Yankees on this one, but we'll see. Obviously, Bayo has the capability to be a big game pitcher. So hopefully he treats it like a playoff game, goes out there, shuts them down again. That's what you'd love to see, but I'm not sure. So we'll leave it at that. We will be back with you guys tomorrow night after that game, so stay tuned for that afterwards. And obviously, we'll have you covered throughout the entire weekend. We'll be back on Sunday night for that Sunday finale. Hopefully, the Red Sox have a good weekend. Hopefully, they at least take 3 or 4. Maybe they split. We'll see. But either way, we'll be with you guys every step of the way. So enjoy the Yankees series. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you later.